You're live, baby.
Hey, welcome to Midweek Medicine, where you are the medicine. And I'm joined by Joe Riley at Yes You. And today we're going to be talking about mental health and what does that mean, and how we manage our emotions, and how we manage physical pain, and how we manage the triggers that, we often get triggered with things in life, and how we manage that. How do we manage when our computer breaks down, our Wi-Fi goes down, and we need to do some work, that kind of thing. And yeah, lots of things at the moment. I don't know if you feel the energy, but lots of things seem to be breaking down and pushing through and testing us. I don't know if you feel like that, but I know Joe and I were just spoken earlier, and we definitely do feel that way. And yeah, so Joe, I don't know, we're going to talk about maybe mental health and what it actually means. And what does that mean to you? I mean, obviously, it's a very sort of medical time. Obviously,
Yeah.
doctors and all of that speak about mental health. And everyone, mental health foundations, it's mental health, that word's used a lot. So yeah, what do you want to say about that?
Firstly, I think, mental health, it's such a broad topic. What does it mean? Because we get affected, it can affect us, because of what's going on externally of us. But then the most important thing, I think, when it comes to managing mental health is going inwards, is the one thing we can control is ourselves. It's the ability to learn to have the tools to manage ourselves, no matter what's going on externally of us. And I mean, there is a lot going on, as a collective in the world. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of, people of some countries apparently are shutting down already because of this whole oil and gas thing. So it's just we're creating this whole collective of fear. And I think if we can just sometimes stop and pause and take a moment and check in with ourselves and learn to find tools that can regulate the nervous system. For me, my go-to is breath work. It's the one thing that within 3 minutes of just even box breathing, something so simple, you get to regulate your nervous system. And it's something that we can actually go through, on this call. We'll take people through a little box breath session so they can feel it. But if the nervous system is regulated, we start reducing anxiety, panic attacks, all of these things that cause and create mental health. So yes, I think it's a really big part of learning to manage ourselves better. And with that, obviously, comes what you were saying, triggers. How do we, when do we decide where we can sit, and instead of reacting straight off from an emotional reactive point, to maybe just take a moment and ask ourselves, like, why am I allowing this situation to trigger me? Because it's probably not even the situation. It's something that's happened a long time ago that's brought up the same emotion that then makes us go into that same trigger. And the more we can learn to manage our triggers, the more we get to manage life from a much more composed sense of being than just becoming reactive.
Yeah, I guess that's the automatic thing, isn't it? We go into panic, because that's, we get surprised, we get shocked, and we can feel our, the heart rate going up, and oh my goodness, how am I going to manage this? It's a disaster, and then your mind starts racing, and yeah, it's really like taking those few minutes to come back into yourself, breathe, because that's the only way you're going to come back to balance, is by really taking some breaths and just sitting quietly and just really taking everything slowly to come back to yourself, come back to within you. So maybe we should start with the box breath, and you can guide us through that, and we can speak about.
Yeah, we can just do like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
And see how we feel. So,
absolutely.
Okay, if you want to just close your eyes and just take a beautiful breath into the belly and exhale. I'm just going to set my timer so you can feel what it feels like for 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. Take another beautiful inhale. And a nice slow exhale. And so what we'll do is we're going to start with box breathing, because that's the easiest one, especially if you've got a very heightened panic attacks, anxiety. It's extremely powerful for regulating the nervous system in a very short amount of time. So we're going to inhale for 4, and then we'll hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4. So let's start. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Last round. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Take a beautiful inhale into the belly. Feel your belly rise. And a soft, gentle exhale. Feel your belly soften. When you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes.
Oh, that was great. I really needed that. The little chanting of the dog, woofing us along as we went. Yeah, it feels, your whole body actually feels completely different now.
Yeah, and it's just calming. Like you feel like, okay, you have a lot more clarity. You know, when we balance our nervous system, we have clarity instead of us being all heightened and, oh my God, our head's all over the place. Just by breathing like that, you know, that was just 3 minutes. Your body, you instantly feel in control. You come back to center, you have clarity, you know, then you can start dealing with whatever you're dealing with from a much more place of, you know, of actual clarity and being centered, you know, instead of just and then we just make more mistakes because our head's all over the place. We can't think straight. We're so neurotic and chaotic that nothing just feels right.
Yeah. And one thing goes wrong, then you end up like knocking over a cup and breaking it and tripping over something. And you know, it becomes this really sort of domino effect. You can really
Yes.
observe it. Once you have the first thing that goes wrong, then you have to really, well, you can just like, wow, okay, need to go inwards, because once one little thing to stop the ricocheting of it all, it's
Yeah.
like come to center and calm your nervous system. So,
Yes.
step back and see whatever issue it could be from like a higher perspective as well, the bird's eye view, not all entirely in the head, getting all wrapped up with, words and everything. Just like, okay, now see it from, in the scheme of things, maybe
And
it's,
that's what I talking about that. Like I always ask myself on my journey of learning how to manage my triggers, because of obviously childhood and growing up in a very triggered household, to be able to sit with it, it takes an awareness. It takes a conscious effort at the beginning to really be able to sit and be like, why am I allowing this to trigger me? Why am I taking it personally? Is it really about me? Or is somebody or something triggering me, but I'm reacting because it reminds me of something that happened years ago? But actually, and I think because so many of us take things so personally these days, as soon as somebody vents or expresses something, instead of them just listening and understanding, they'll be like defensive. Why is it about me? They just instantly, we take things personally, but it actually is probably nothing to do with us. It's nothing to do with you. It's nothing. It's just a situation. So by being able to actually take yourself out of the situation, like you said, look at it from a bird's eye, look at it from a witness, be a witness and observer instead of being in it and associated with it, gives us the ability to really look and go, does this really impact me? Is this really going to change my life? Is this really going to harm me? Because if it's not, what's the point? Like, just let it go. Rather just get out of the stories and allow yourself to just move through it. Allow these emotions to move through you, but don't get caught up in it and then become a victim and a big, oh, me, this happened to me, why me? And, I'm so sad, I'm so this, because then we're identifying by this. Then we become, this becomes our identity, this poor me, woe. But actually, when we have the ability to really transmute and shift it, where we get to step into the power of what are we allowing ourselves to be affected by and what are we not allowing ourselves to be affected by.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, sometimes someone can say something, they're not meaning it to be about you, but it's mirroring. And this is what we have. We have a lot of mirroring around us. And so it's, like getting an observer role instead of, obviously a lot of us feel a lot how other people feel. And so when someone is going through stuff, we feel it. And that's another thing for us to learn too. Like, okay, feel it a bit, but we don't have to feel it 100%. Just feel it a little bit so we can support them, be understanding, but we don't have to fully take on the energy of it.
Yeah, but it's not energy. It's, it's somebody else's energy. It's somebody just wanting to express, or talk or whatever, explain a misunderstanding, whatever it is. But that's their energy. We don't have to take it on, but we also don't have to take it. It doesn't have to become us. It doesn't have to become personal. It just can be just that, Scientifically, they've proven like we only have an emotion, an actual emotion, only lasts 90 seconds.
Yes.
But it's the stories we tell ourselves, and it's the stories we get stuck in that actually can last a lifetime of pain and suffering. And then it becomes like, then you are choosing to suffer. Because, sometimes with my clients, I'll say, okay, you're upset, you're angry, whatever, you're going through a breakup, whatever it is. Okay, so you're feeling that emotion. That's okay. So let's feel it. What do you want to do? If you're angry, do you want to punch a pillow? Do you want to have a good scream into a pillow? What is it? But I'm going to put a timer on. You've got 90 seconds. And then you have a choice. So I set the timer and I'm like, so do what you got to do to release that, to feel it fully, embrace it, release it. But then I'm going to often, when that bell goes, when that 90 seconds goes, then I'm going to ask you, you have a choice now. What's your choice? Are you going to choose to now suffer and carry on suffering and cause yourself more pain? Or are you just going to now allow it to go? You can't change it. It's done. And I think as soon as we learn to be able to transmute these things, and we have a bigger understanding of how much of this we are in control of, the sooner we get to actually take real control and responsibility for our lives.
I love that, putting on the timer for 90 seconds.
Yeah, and it works because you do have a choice. And
yeah,
it's, you know, it's like, shit, okay, I've got 90 seconds to feel this emotion, whether it's sadness, cry. If you want to cry for 90 seconds, set the alarm. And then ask yourself, what do I do now? It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. It's done. Like, I can't change it. So do I want to hold on to it and suffer because of it? Or do I just want to let it go and just move through it and allow it to be what it's been?
Exactly. And people get very stuck in allowing that letting go. Because I guess people want to hold on to their wounds, you know, because there's been so powerful. Say something really big, say something traumatic. It's been so powerful. And although, say, we don't want to carry it, it's completely changed our lives, and in many ways for the better. But I don't know. It's like we carry these stories. I mean, obviously, I'm letting go of a lot of mine now, and you know, but it's just like, it's trauma, I guess. It's like we're carrying the trauma. It's like an imprint.
But that's why it's so important to do the work, to do, you know, whether it's seeing a psychologist, a psychiatrist, therapy, you know, but the actual, you know, but then I'm like, you've got to also do the work physically. You know, you've got to release the trauma on a cellular level. Otherwise, it doesn't go anywhere. No matter how much you try and keep yourself out of it, no matter how much you try and think you're doing the work, you try and change your mindset, you try and do all these things. Yes, that'll help. But you've got to learn to heal physically as well on a cellular level so that we can fully release it out of the cells, out of the membranes, out of the tissues. Because, you know, we carry 14 generations of generational trauma in our cellular DNA. So some people come into this life and not experience anything bad, but things still don't flow because the generational trauma could be, you know, extremely, we don't know. Go back 14 years, my God, I don't want to think about it personally. So I'm like, I just want to heal. You know, and we don't have to heal. We don't have to know. When we're healing, we don't have to go back to the story. We don't have to go back to the event. We can literally just do the work to let it go physically, to let it go cellular, so that, you know, because we don't know what happened 14 generations ago, but we can still heal our generational trauma. So if we can do that, we can heal any trauma.
Yeah.
But I think,
really,
you know,
dealing with it in the now. Dealing with it in the now.
Yes.
Because stuff comes up from the past. Some of it we don't remember. Some of it we do, whether it's ancestral or whatever, even if it's just in our own lives. You know, we get triggered by something that's come up in a smaller, diluted version for us to release. And so it becomes in smaller little waves and droplets or two. And then, you know, we feel the emotion. Like, if we can get it out, great. You know, I mean, sometimes I feel like crying and I don't even know why. And I was like, oh, I want you to cry, I want to get that out. Like you say, it's so true. You can't actually cry for hours and hours. But tears are very healing. You know, tears, the actual teardrops, you know, the hormones in them are very healing. So it's really good to cry. I've never really cried that much myself. But, you know,
but that's
I do
like, you know, you look at why we're created with tear ducts. There's a reason for it.
Exactly.
You know, we were created with tear ducts
for a reason
because it's one of the fastest ways for our bodies to release and cleanse. You know, it's just by having a good cry, and then it's done, and you feel so much better afterwards. The same as, you know, if you're feeling a lot of anger and rage, is to just scream into a pillow. It's literally 30 seconds. You just scream and scream and scream, and instantly you're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. You know, these things, we have these reasons of releasing. You don't have to be thinking about it, sit in it and, you know, and wallow in it. But I think what you were saying earlier, Alice, is, you know, about how we carry all these stories, and I think it's because these things become our identity. And so people don't sometimes want to, they might think they want to heal and let go, but actually I do find, like with some of my clients, I have to say to them, how much do you really want this? Because if you really, really want the change and the transformation, you've got to let your old self go. You've got to let that identity. You've got to let, because then you can start healing the trauma, you know. But if you're identifying by it all the time, of this one did this to me, that person did that to me, that is your identity now. You become the victim to your own story. And I think that's where you're right. You know, it's about we become, and that's why some people love their whole lives then become a drama, because they are so, they identify, it gives them purpose. It gives them purpose for something to go wrong. Because if they don't have that, they don't feel like they have any worth. But actually, there's so much more in this if you go on the other side of that and you do the work, you know, and then you allow that old self of yours to go. You lose that self of yours and you see what's really in here. And then you get to step into your own worth.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's complicated. I think sometimes for myself, I know I want to actually understand things. I want to understand why things happen with, say, family and, you know, past experience. And I think there's this maybe yearning to understand. But really, do you know what? We're never going to understand. It happened. People either talk to you or they don't talk to you. They respect you, they don't respect you. You're in communication with them or you're not. You know, it's actually, you've got to not even care about what the story is. What's the reality? That you feel respected and loved by them, or there's no communication. And, you know, that's what you, I guess, is learning to look at it sort of, well, you know, to find out who are your people, you know, whether it's, you know, people from your past, your family, and people that you've known then, or not. I mean, obviously, I get it. People live in different countries, so, you know, we don't see them that much. So when we do go there, we get to connect, and maybe we don't connect all the time. But, you know, with certain sort of key players in your life, you know, it's like really just accepting the situation. And when we strive to want to have this connection, when we can't, or they can't, or don't want to, or there's some stuff that's gone on, some stories, it's just to really just allow and to let it go, because otherwise we're carrying around a lot of unresolved pain.
Exactly.
And like muddy water. Just like pour some clean water through and just let it flow out of here. Because it's you know, if you look at it from you know, a higher point, it's completely pointless. Why do we put ourselves through that pain? Just accept. You know, yes, they want to, or yes, they're not. Yes, they want to be friends with you, or they don't. And actions, as we all know, speak louder than words. I mean, you know, if like somebody wants to be in contact with you, they'll make the effort. And if somebody doesn't, that's okay. But it's just like we can't be trying to put people into where we want them to be. We just have to let them be. You know, everything
comes down to, you know, does that come down to really understanding our worthiness? What you're saying? Because if you learn to really feel and know your worth as a person and who you are and trust who you are inside, it's much easier not to be affected by what other people say and do. But I think when we always want to be validated by externally from other people because we don't feel worthy of ourselves, so we're constantly looking for validation external of us, and actually then we become people pleasers. Then we do things that actually we don't want to do, but we do it because we don't want them to judge us, and we start doing all the wrong things because we just want validation. And some people even do it where they can be quite nasty because they just want a reaction. They just want some kind of attention, even if it's the wrong intention.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, this is also a big part of as living this human experience and understanding, you know, where do you fit in? Where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in this space? You know, what is your purpose? What do you want to create? What do you, not what other people want you to do, but what do you want? You know, and then we can really start anchoring into our own worthiness. And then you start having boundaries.
Exactly. And really having, you know, working on yourself and finding out what you want, because it's not about everyone else. It's like you make yourself happy, you're going to attract the right people to you and people that are in alignment to who you are. So, you know, we can't sort of keep on trying to fit ourselves into little boxes just because way it is. You know, we have to really sort of delve deeply and really find out what we want and dream that. I was saying to a friend
Yeah.
the other day, and I was saying, well, daydream. What a wonderful thing. You've got a whole 48 hour or whatever. Daydream what your life, if we're imagining it, we're bringing it closer to us because we don't even have maybe taken the time to even dream up what we'd like in our lives and how it would like to be. Why not? Let's manifest it. And and whatever will make us happier, and bring us to peace. And then we find some little bits of the jigsaw, whether we're writing, journaling about how we would like our lives to be, or
Yeah.
whether we're actually, expressing it through our mind, through visual, or, and just exploring the connection, like with music, singing, how that can bring us joy and change how we feel on a cellular level,
Funny
change
enough,
how we feel in our minds.
when you were talking about daydreaming, because I love music and I love dancing, there was actually a song that's called Daydream. And it goes, if a daydream, and if your dream, if it doesn't scare the hell out of you, it's not big enough.
Ah,
So
right.
there you go. It needs to
Yeah.
scare us, because if it scares us, it means that it's right, that it's stepping
Yeah.
us into, there's more growth to come. There's growth, there's expansion. If it really scares us and but you break through and you can do it, oh my gosh, wow. Then you're like, you can't beat that.
Yeah, and to do that, you have to feel uncomfortable. You'll get comfortable with being uncomfortable as you make
Absolutely.
it. And
I'm going to go there right now, being comfortable with that, very uncomfortable. So I'm navigating exactly that right now in my life,
exactly. Yeah, no, I hear you. I think this is the time where it's like we've been preparing with all the experiences that we've had in the unknown and not knowing what's going to happen in our lives and in the world, but particularly, in our own worlds, which is obviously reflecting micro, macro. And especially now, it's almost like it feels in a way I'm kind of repeating it. It's like, yeah, we really don't know what it's going to be. Yeah, we really don't know. So we just got to take one step at a time, take one day at a time, or not even a whole day because that's even too long, but
Just have
minute by minute, moment by moment.
Yeah, and have faith and really trust in our creator, trust in God, trust that we are the universe, angels, whatever it is, however you want to call it. Just trust that we are connected to something way bigger than ourselves. But to really let go of control and really trust and have faith, then that takes a lot of practice. Like that really, because fear always kicks in. And most of the time, our ego and our fear will hold us back, will stop us instantly. It's like hitting a brick wall. And I think you and I have been on this journey now for a while to really trust, to really have faith, to step into the space with ourselves, into our own businesses, into what are we creating, how are we going to show up and be of service to the world, and trust that, coming out of the matrix, coming out of these jobs, coming out of, not having financial security, but trusting, and really allowing ourselves to lean into these really uncomfortable situations. But, when we do it, I don't know, the universe, God, he always shows up and brings us a blessing. And then it's like, oh, yes, I know you've got my back.
Yeah, life's full of surprises.
Yeah.
I mean, often we think we are in control, all because we're controlling how much income we bring every month. We're controlling because we have a house, we have this, and it's all, we're controlling it. But really, one click of a finger, everything can change. Our lives can change. Something can come into our lives to change it all. Financially, things can change. Everything can change in a moment. We're always living in the unknown, really. But we don't, we guess we go into our ego and we decide, oh no, I'm in control. I've got this, I'm sorting out all of this. But really, we've never been in control. And yeah, the sooner we realize that, the sooner we can maybe enjoy life a bit more, really, and just trust that what is coming towards us is exactly what we need, even if it is insecurity, even if it is feeling uncomfortable and stepping into the unknown and all the different aspects of life. the ups and downs, but navigating and knowing that actually, yeah, I managed that. We actually don't give ourselves enough credit for all the different things that happen to us, surprises, disappointments, all that. And actually, I'm still okay. Because if we trust that whatever's meant for us will come to us and what isn't is just going to repel, be redirected, instead of us saying, oh, well, I wanted that. I wanted it like this. And I wanted it, in a square shape with a round circle, yellow, whatever. It's like we don't have control. So it's like really just.
And actually, when we let go of that, we create so much more flow and alignment, because we're not resisting what's really meant to be happening, and I know it's hard, because we experience it. It is hard sometimes to let go of the control and just completely surrender and trust, and trust in that everything is happening in divine timing. It's not happening on our timing, but it's happening in divine timing.
There is.
And sometimes
what is God?
Exactly. Even in a relationship, like the relationship's not great. It's ups and downs. There's a lot of fighting. And yet people will still try and control it and stay together, instead of just being like, you know what, we're not getting on anymore. It's life. We're on different, our paths are changing, and that's okay. So let's break up, because people don't want to be alone. So then they want to stay because they're scared to be alone, and they're scared to be single again, and they're scared of how am I going to meet someone, and all these things. So they end up staying and being really unhappy. But actually, look at you and I. If you actually step out and go, do you know what, I'm worth so much more. And if I keep myself open to it and I allow myself to really surrender, it's going to come. It's going to show up. Exactly. But if you're not open and you're not available, it won't. All of situations. Letting go of controlling everything that is actually external view that you have no control over.
Yeah.
Most of our lives, we cannot control anything. Everything is out of our control. The only thing we have control over is ourselves, is how we show up for ourselves. That is it. We don't own anything. We have no control over anything apart from ourselves.
Yeah. It's a huge learning. But I always think it's exciting in many ways, because we never know. Like, I would have never imagined that I would have this life that I've had for the last 10 years here. It's like you never know what's going to happen in life. And actually, in retrospect, it's been pretty interesting. It's been pretty challenging in many ways, but also it's been an adventure. And so, maybe we're gifted something even better than what we thought that is good enough.
Exactly. And what we thought we deserved.
Yeah. Like staying in relationship.
Look at your story. Look what you've been through. Yeah. Look at the breakthroughs, the breakdowns that you've been through personally. But we have to go through all that pain. We didn't have to necessarily, like, all of that pain that we had to experience. You have to experience life. You can't go through life without experiencing it. But that's why it's having that acceptance of it, because it's teaching us something better about ourselves. It's teaching us something better about the life that we really want, and the life that we can have, and the life that we deserve. But like you had to go through all of that. You had to break down to break through. Okay, and look where you are now. You're now living the life of your dreams. Yes, and it's only getting better.
Absolutely. And in this adventure, I think we come here to experience life, and as an individual particle, individual soul. So as we go through that, yes, we get lots of surprises, and some of us have more dramatic experiences than others, but we all go through whatever our soul has chosen to experience. And it's just learning to navigate that. So the ups and downs maybe aren't so dramatic. So we have tools that we can use to manage life. We can step back a bit. We don't have to get involved in all that drama. I love a drama-free life. Our life is really drama-free. And, I don't know.
I am all about the drama-free life. Like, any drama, I'm like, the fastest exit, I'm done. Doesn't matter whether it's friends, family, relationships. I don't participate in drama. It's not healthy. It makes you sick. I'm not interested. So that's one of my things, is like, I like you, drama-free life. Yay?
Yeah.
So how do we create that?
It's very exhausting, and it's really, yeah, it's not authentic. It's just creating drama, which is, yeah, it's just very wearing.
No, it creates drama, it creates then illnesses, it creates diseases, creates mental health, creates depression, creates anxiety, creates everything, stress, and then we become sick. It's all one big spiral. If you start with, if that's what's going on in your life, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of this, you're going to spiral, you're going to have anxiety, you're going to have depression, you're probably going to be, your mental health's going to be unstable, there's going to be a lot of fighting, there's going to be a lot of, it's just the challenges, this life just becomes so dull and stressful. And then you become sick, whereas like drama-free means we get to, even when things are a little bit uncomfortable, even when things are a bit challenging, but if you don't have the drama that's adding to the stress, you can just be with it. Be like, okay, I need to deal with this. How am I going to deal with this? Sit down and take a moment and find, create some clarity, regulate your nervous system, and then move in that same. You'll have a lot more solutions.
Exactly. And not take everything so seriously. Like, I remember years ago, I used to work for a magazine company, and it was just drama. Everything was a drama. The client was a drama, the people I worked with were a drama, the model was a drama, all the people involved, it was all such drama. And I was like, seriously? It's like no one's dying. What is wrong with everyone? It's just like, I think it just creates this sort of, ricochet effect that the drama just gets bigger. And it becomes almost like Chinese whispers as well. It just gets into this huge, and it's really nothing. But that's how I guess I see the Western world to some degree, and not living in the world. Yeah.
We'll box the Western world into the whole of the Western world into a drama, literally hamster wheel. That's what it is, really.
Yeah. Exactly. Like music going off everywhere, at least here, nature tells the truth. Some leaves fall, well, kind of tells the truth. I mean, I don't know about the weather, but yes, generally tells the truth, like trees and things like that. So where are we at the time? I think we've done about half an hour.
Yeah, we're nearly up to 40 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe it's time to close down, and thank everyone for listening. And we will be here again.
Missy is live with us, and Jeffrey, thank you for joining us. Hope
thank
you got some golden nuggets out of something that we're talking about.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, we'll join us. Yes.
Thank you.
So lovely to see you again. And speak soon. And yes, keep on smiling.
Yes. Looking forward to next week, Wednesday.
Yes, for sure. Same time. Okay. Take care.
Bye. Take care. Bye.